Mẹ không đồng ý chuyện này.
Bố cũng không đồng ý. Tại sao ạ? Chúng con yêu nhau.
Con xin bố mẹ.
Hello, dear viewers. In today's story, we follow Tieu Lac, a simple countryside girl with an incredibly strong heart. While CEO Quan returns to the city to celebrate Tet, his parents unexpectedly show up at her farm and firmly threaten her to stay away from their son. They believe she is not worthy of his status or family background, and they even warn that her life and farm could face serious trouble if she refuses to step aside. Faced with power, wealth, and overwhelming pressure, Tio Lac feels fear and doubt. For a moment, she considers walking away to protect herself and the man she loves. But instead of running, she chooses to listen to her heart. She decides to stay, continue caring for her farm, and wait for CEO Quan to return. Not because she is weak, but because she believes true love requires courage. When Quan comes back, will he stand with his family, or will he hold the hand of the woman who has been quietly waiting for him through the storm? If you enjoy emotional love stories filled with drama, hope, and powerful messages about faith and devotion, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episode. Heart signed. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story. The last days of the year had wrapped the countryside in a quiet, silver-gray stillness. While the city glittered with lights and celebration, Tieu Lac's small farm felt peaceful, almost suspended in time. CEO Quan had returned to the city a few days earlier to attend year-end meetings and spend Tet with business partners and extended relatives. Before leaving, he had promised her he would come back as soon as everything was settled. He had held her hands gently, his voice warm and reassuring, telling her not to overwork and to wait for him. She trusted him. That afternoon, as Tio Lac was arranging bundles of fresh vegetables near the wooden fence, the low hum of a powerful engine shattered the calm. A sleek black luxury car rolled slowly down the narrow dirt path leading to her farm. It did not belong there. The polished surface of the vehicle reflected the modest stone house and simple wooden gate, as if the two worlds were silently confronting each other. The car stopped. The driver stepped out first, then respectfully opened the rear door. CEO Quan's parents emerged with composed, dignified expressions. They were impeccably dressed, their presence commanding and refined. Even without speaking, they carried an air of authority that seemed to weigh heavily on the humble land around them. Tio Lac's hands froze mid-motion. Her heart pounded, but she quickly wiped the dirt from her palms and walked toward them. She bowed politely, her voice steady despite the sudden tension. "Uncle, Auntie, please come in." They did not move. Instead, Mrs. Quan slowly scanned the surroundings, the rows of vegetables, the small shed, the aging wooden fence, the simple house built with hard-earned savings and love. Her gaze was not cruel, but it was unmistakably critical. "So this," she said quietly, "is where you live." Each word felt heavier than the winter air. Mr. Quan clasped his hands behind his back. His tone was calm but firm. "We came here because our son is not here. It is better this way. We prefer to speak directly." Tio Lac felt a chill that had nothing to do with the weather. She nodded, bracing herself. Mrs. Quan did not waste time. "You are a good girl, perhaps. We have heard that you are hard-working." She paused, her eyes meeting Tio Lac's. "But being hard-working is not enough to stand beside our son." The word struck like a silent blow. "Our family has a reputation, responsibilities, partnerships. Quan's future is not limited to this farm. His marriage will affect investors, business alliances, and the stability of our company. Love is not the only factor to consider." Tio Lac felt her fingers trembling slightly, but she kept them hidden behind her back. She understood the difference between her world and theirs. She had always known it would not be easy. Mrs. Kwan's voice softened, but the meaning grew sharper. If you truly care about him, you should step aside. Let him return to his world without complications. Silence stretched between them. The distant sound of wind moving through the fields seemed louder than ever. Then came the warning. If you do not end this relationship before he returns, there may be consequences. The land paperwork for farms like this can be complicated. Business inspections can happen unexpectedly. Life here can become very difficult. It was not shouted, it was not dramatic, but it was unmistakably a threat. For a moment, Tio Lac's vision blurred. Fear rose in her chest. This farm was everything she had built with years of effort. It was her home, her independence, her dignity. Yet, when she lifted her head, her eyes were clear. I have never asked him for money. I never wanted his position. I only love him. Mrs. Kwan's expression hardened slightly. Love is not always enough. With that, they turned back toward the car. The door closed with a decisive sound. The engine started, and within seconds, the luxury vehicle disappeared down the narrow road, leaving only tire marks in the dust. The farm fell silent again. But the silence was no longer peaceful. Tio Lac stood alone in the fading light, the echo of their warning lingering in the cold air. She knew the storm had only just begun. After the black car disappeared beyond the bend of the narrow dirt road, an unnatural silence settled over the farm. The wind continued to move gently through the vegetable fields, and somewhere in the distance, a dog barked, unaware that anything had changed. But for Tio Lac, everything had. She remained standing in the same spot for a long time, staring at the faint tire tracks pressed into the soil. The earth beneath her feet felt less steady than it had that morning. The threats had not been loud or dramatic, yet they echoed relentlessly in her mind. There may be consequences. Life here can become very difficult. She slowly walked back to the wooden bench in front of her small stone house and sat down. Her hands rested on her lap, but she did not feel the cool touch of her own fingers. Instead, she felt the weight of reality pressing down on her chest. She had always known that loving CEO Kwan would not be simple. From the very beginning, she understood the distance between his world and hers. He lived in skyscrapers and conference rooms. She lived among fields and soil. He dealt with contracts worth millions. She counted every expense carefully to keep her farm running. But knowing something in theory was very different from facing it directly. The calm, measured way his parents had spoken frightened her more than anger would have. They did not insult her openly. They did not shout. They simply reminded her, with polished certainty, that she did not belong. Her gaze drifted toward the rows of vegetables she had planted with her own hands. Every leaf, every seed carried memories of early mornings and late nights. This farm was not just property. It was her independence, her pride, and her sanctuary. What if they truly caused problems with the paperwork? What if sudden inspections appeared? What if suppliers withdrew under pressure? She knew she did not have the connections or influence to fight a powerful family. The thought made her stomach tighten. For a brief moment, fear whispered that perhaps the easiest way to protect everything she had built was to walk away quietly before any damage could be done. If she left, CEO Kwan would not have to argue with his parents. He would not be forced to choose. His career would remain untouched. His family would regain their peace. And she would carry the heartbreak alone. Tieu Lac closed her eyes, imagining his face, the warmth in his smile, the way his voice softened when he spoke to her, the sincerity in his promise before he left for the city. "Wait for me," he had said. "No matter what happens, trust me." Her eyes opened again, glistening but steady. Was love supposed to retreat at the first sign of pressure? If she stepped aside now, would that truly protect him, or would it silently declare that their love was too fragile to survive a challenge? The more she thought about it, the clearer her heart became. She did not want to be a burden in his life, but she also refused to see herself as a mistake. She had never chased his wealth. She had never asked for his status. What they shared was built on quiet conversations, shared meals, and mutual respect. The sun began to sink lower, painting the sky with soft orange hues. Tieu Lac stood up slowly and walked toward the fields. She adjusted a loose wooden post along the fence, her movements steady, deliberate. Fear was still there. She would not deny it. She was human. She was afraid of losing her farm, afraid of unseen pressure, afraid of what powerful people could do behind closed doors. But alongside that fear, something stronger had taken root: determination. She would not run without hearing from him. She would not end their relationship based on threats spoken in his absence. If there was to be a decision, it would be made by the two of them together, not forced by intimidation. The sun began to sink lower as evening approached, but inside her chest, her heartbeat was no longer trembling. It was steady. The storm had entered her life, yes, but she was no longer standing in it helplessly. Night fell quietly over the farm, wrapping the fields in a deep blue stillness. In the distance, faint sounds of early Tet celebrations drifted from the nearby village: laughter, distant music, the occasional crackle of fireworks being tested before midnight. Yet here, beneath the wide open sky, Tio Lac stood alone with her thoughts, her heart no longer shaken, but steady and resolute. She had spent the late afternoon working as usual. She watered the vegetables, checked the small greenhouse, and secured the wooden gate before dusk. Every action grounded her. Every simple task reminded her that this life, this land, was built on patience and perseverance. Love, she realized, was no different. After finishing her chores, she returned inside and began preparing a small New Year's meal. It was modest: a pot of soup simmering gently, a plate of neatly arranged vegetables, sticky rice wrapped carefully in leaves. She cooked as if he might walk through the door at any moment, even though she knew he was still in the city, surrounded by bright lights and formal gatherings. But she believed in promises. As she arranged the dishes on the small wooden table, her mind replayed the conversation from earlier that day: the warning, the pressure, the implication that she would bring trouble if she stayed. For a fleeting second, doubt tried to creep back in. What if waiting only made things worse? What if his parents' opposition created a permanent crack in their relationship? She placed both hands on the edge of the table and took a slow breath. Running away would not eliminate the problem, it would only silence her voice in it. She walked outside again, the cool night air brushing against her face. Above her, the sky stretched wide and endless, scattered with quiet stars. In the city, CEO Quan might have been surrounded by celebration, but she knew his heart had never been drawn to noise or luxury alone. He had found peace here, with her, among the fields and the open horizon. "I will not leave," she whispered softly to herself, as if sealing a vow. Not because she was stubborn, not because she wanted to challenge his parents, but because love deserved courage. She understood now that this was the true test. It was easy to love when everything was smooth. It was easy to smile when no one stood in the way. But real love required endurance. It required faith in each other, even when external forces tried to shake that foundation. She did not intend to fight his parents with anger or defiance. She would meet them with dignity. She would continue living honestly, working hard, and proving through her actions, not arguments, that her feelings were sincere. If Quan returned to the farm and decided that the pressure was too much, she would respect his choice. Love could not be forced, but she would not make that decision for him out of fear. She would give him the opportunity to stand beside her freely. The wind lifted slightly, brushing through the crops like a quiet blessing. Tieu Lac stepped toward the wooden gate and looked down the narrow road that led away from the farm, the same road where the black luxury car had disappeared earlier. This time, instead of fear, she imagined another car returning. She imagined familiar footsteps approaching, a familiar voice calling her name. Her heart warmed at the thought. Inside the house, the small meal waited. A light remained on in the window, glowing softly against the darkness. It was not just a light for Tet, it was a light of trust. No matter how powerful his family might be, no matter how uncertain the future seemed, she had made her choice. She would stay, she would wait, and when CEO Kwan returned to the farm, he would not find a frightened girl who had run away. He would find a woman who believed in their love enough to stand her ground.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Mí Tiểu Lạc Review. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kể về nội dung đó chính là việc bố mẹ của vị CEO trẻ đã đến nông trại của CEO tại vùng quê. Đến đây thì ông bà đã gặp Tiểu Lạc đang sống ở đó và ông bà cảm thấy rất là không hài lòng vì đối với bố mẹ của CEO cần phải lấy một người con gái môn đăng hộ đối hơn chứ không phải là một người như Tiểu Lạc. Bố mẹ của vị CEO đã quyết định sẽ đuổi Tiểu Lạc ra khỏi nông trại và tìm mọi cách để đe dọa cô, bắt cô phải rời xa CEO. Nhưng Tiểu Lạc bất chấp lời đe dọa của bố mẹ CEO, cô vẫn quyết định ở lại và bảo vệ tình yêu của mình với CEO đến cùng. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện Tiểu Lạc và CEO sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các câu chuyện về Tiểu Lạc và CEO sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Tiểu Lạc Review nha. Và các bạn cũng đừng quên để lại bình luận ở dưới video. Mọi ý kiến đóng góp của các bạn sẽ giúp mình cải thiện nội dung trên kênh hay hơn nữa để phục vụ khán giả. Và nếu có thể các bạn hãy bấm vào giỏ hàng của Tiểu Lạc và CEO được đính kèm ở trên video để mua các sản phẩm ủng hộ Tiểu Lạc nha. Thanks for watching my video. Bye bye.